Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today for the Healthy Living series with Nurse Alice, brought to you by AARP. I'm Nurse Alice Benjamin. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and today we're going to be talking about something we all care about, and that's how to keep our skin and hair healthy, vibrant, and strong as we age. Now, this isn't about vanity, it's about vitality, learning how our bodies evolve and how to care for ourselves with knowledge and confidence. So, quick show of hands. Who here has noticed their skin or hair has changed over the years? Well, although I can't see you, I'm pretty sure everyone's hand has gone up. So you're not alone. Let's explore what and why this happens and what we can do about it. So, just a brief disclaimer. This presentation is for educational purposes only. The information I share today doesn't replace medical advice from your own healthcare provider. My goal is to give you useful science-based tips and help you have informed conversations with your doctor or your dermatologist. So, a little bit about me. I've been a nurse for over 25 years, specializing in cardiology, critical care, and emergency medicine. And I'm also an AARP ambassador. And you might have seen me on TV on NBC. Or you might have heard about my podcast, the Ask Nurse Alice podcast. I've worked with thousands of patients, and I've learned that when we take care of our health on the inside, it shows up on the outside as well. So, welcome to your journey. Again, this session is designed especially for adults 50 and older. We're not chasing youth, we're nurturing wellness. We'll talk about how skin and hair naturally change over time, what's normal, and what deserves a closer look. And the goal? Well, the goal here is to help you feel more empowered, not overwhelmed. Healthy skin and hair aren't just about expensive products, they're about understanding your body and giving it what it needs. So, who here, by show of hands, grew up using one product for everything? I mean, the lotion that you use on your body, you use it on your face, and maybe you even used it in your hair, right? Well, you're not alone there either. And we'll talk about when that still works and when it's time to adjust. How time shapes your skin and hair. We're going to go over a little bit of anatomy, physiology, just to give us a better understanding of what's going on in our bodies. But as we get older, estrogen naturally begins to decline, particularly around menopause. And I know I'm speaking to the women initially, but with menopause, that's one of the reasons why our estrogen levels drop, but it isn't the only one. Some women notice changes much earlier due to things like ovary removal surgery, certain medications used for cancer or birth control, or even chronic stress, weight loss, or autoimmune conditions that affect the ovaries. And when estrogen dips, we start to lose collagen and natural oils. And so our skin may become thinner and drier, and our hair may feel a little more brittle and slower to grow. This also impacts the gentleman. So, yes, you have estrogen too. It's made in smaller amounts when your body converts some testosterone into estrogen, and you actually need it to keep your skin healthy, your bones strong, and your hair growing. As testosterone gradually declines with age, what we sometimes call andropause, the balance changes. And the result? Well, same thing. Hair thinning, dryness, and sometimes slow healing. There are the hormonal shifts. And then we'll have environmental wear and tear. So, years of sunlight, pollution, smoke, and even harsh weather gradually break down collagen and elastin. And those are the proteins that keep our skin firm and our hair strong. So, this process is called oxidative stress. This is when free radicals from the environment cause damage faster than our body can repair it. And then finally, there's good old Mother Nature and natural evolution of our skin and hair. Skin cells that used to renew every month now take closer to 6 weeks. And that's when skin can look a little dull or uneven, and those old cells are just hanging on a little bit longer. Hair follicles can also shrink too, which means each strand grows a little bit finer. Now, here's the important part. These changes are normal. These are not failures. They're biology. But by understanding what's happening, this allows us to support our bodies in smarter ways. With the right hydration, sun protection, nutrition, and gentle care, we can absolutely keep our skin and hair healthier and vibrant at every age. So remember, Time will change us, but with knowledge and intention, we can age powerfully and beautifully. So let's talk about our skin type. So our skin is as individual as we are. So for someone like myself, I'm rich in melanin. Melanin rich skin, which includes many people of color, naturally offers more UV protection and often ages more slowly, but it is prone to dark spots, keloids, and dryness that can show up as like an ashy look. Melanin is a natural pigment produced by cells called melanocytes that gives color to our hair, skin, and eyes, and its primary job is to protect the cells from sun damage. Considering the UV radiation, melanin is designed to prevent DNA damage and potentially skin cancer. In people who have lighter skin tones, while they are less prone to hyperpigmentation, which we're like, oh, that's a good thing, they are more prone to show fine lines sooner and can burn more easily. So it's really important that you understand your skin type, because when you understand these things, you'll better understand what you're more prone to. And if you know what that is, then we also then know what are some of the protections that we can put in place, because there is no one size fits all. Your routine should celebrate your skin strength and support its challenges. So, as a clinician, I always remind my patients that melanin does protect us somewhat from the sun, but not completely. Even darker skins can develop skin cancer, and that's very important to know. And we'll get to talking about sunscreen in a few minutes. But whoever's been told you don't need sunscreen, we're going to bust that myth very soon here. So let's talk about textured hair and understanding the shifts. Well, as we age, our scalps produce less oil, which can lead to dryness and flaking, and that's why moisture and gentle care can become essential. Hormonal shifts can make our hair follicles smaller and reduce density, like I said earlier, and our strands may feel finer. Curls may loosen or tighten, and hair can break more easily. Now, this doesn't mean that your hair is quote unquote bad or damaged. It's evolving. It'll be important for us to also focus on scalp health, moisture, and low tension styles to help maintain the health of our hair, the strength, and the shine. So, scalp dryness isn't just cosmetic, it's actually a true condition that we should be concerned about. It can worsen itching and it can even cause small infections. When the skin on your scalp becomes dry, the skin barrier gets irritated and damaged, and then this can lead to more itching, redness, irritation, and tiny breaks in the skin can occur, which can allow bacteria or yeast to cause small infections. So we want to prevent that. So you can try using a mild or medicated shampoos or oils like jojoba, which can restore balance. Let's look at our overall health because this does matter. I know we're focused on skin and hair, but overall health definitely does matter. What's happening in your body shows up definitely in your skin and hair. Chronic illnesses like diabetes, thyroid disease, or poor circulation can cause dry skin. It can cause slow wound healing and even hair loss. Hydration is something that's going to be extremely important. Hydration supports every cell in your body. Stress hormones like cortisol can speed up aging and trigger flare-ups such as eczema or what we call atopic dermatitis, which is a chronic inflammatory skin condition, and it can even cause hair shedding. So let me ask, how much water are you drinking? I will share with this. Unless advised otherwise by your healthcare provider because of a medical condition, for example, women should be drinking about 11 cups a day. That's almost 2.7 liters. And men should be drinking almost up to 15 cups a day, which is 3.7 liters a day. Now, that's a lot of fluids. So, but this includes all fluids. So, water, tea, coffee, milk, soups, fruits and vegetables, all of those things. But at least half of that should come from plain good old water. Because after the age 50, the body is more prone to dehydration. And so we need to stay hydrated. These are some of the things that happen to us as we age is we have lower thirst sensation, so you don't feel thirsty even when you're dehydrated. Because of muscle loss, that can happen as we age or from being sedentary. That can cause us to be more dehydrated because muscle holds water. Medications that we may take for a particular condition might cause us to become dehydrated, like diuretics, laxatives. Chronic illnesses contribute to that as well. Diabetes, kidney disease, and even hot environments or exercise can cause us to lose fluid volume. So it's very important that we drink regularly and not just when we're thirsty. So let's talk about medications in your skin, side effects to watch for. Now, as a nurse practitioner, I always remind my patients that Medications are necessary to help us with particular conditions and disease processes. So we need to take medications to offset or manage certain conditions. But sometimes what we can take to help us with one thing might come at the expense of something else. So, for example, let's say you're someone who takes diuretics, maybe you take Lasix for your blood pressure or to remove excess fluids. Important for your heart, but it can cause you some dry skin. Perhaps you're someone who takes statins for your cholesterol. We need to keep your cholesterol level managed, but that might cause some itching or some rashes. You might be on blood thinners. Maybe you're on Plavix or on aspirin. So these might be needed for conditions like atrial fibrillation or the prevention of blood clots, but they do and can make you more prone to bruising easily. Maybe you're on taking some type of NSAID, some anti-inflammatory like a Motrin or a Aleve. Those can help with pain and inflammation, but they might cause some sun sensitivity and also oral hypoglycemics. Perhaps you're taking these medications to better manage your blood sugar levels and your diabetes. Important and necessary, but that can also sometimes cause increased dryness or itching. So, this does not mean to stop your medications. Absolutely not. What it does mean is to stay alert, moisturize your skin, be more cognizant of these things, and talk to your healthcare provider about any new changes. So, if you are someone who is taking a medication, or maybe you started taking medication and you notice some skin or hair changes, talk to your healthcare provider. And you don't necessarily need to wait for your next visit because that can be several weeks from now. Send a message through the portal. Call the office, leave a message, talk to them about what your concerns are, and allow the provider to say, Mr. Jones, you need to come in right away, or, this is something, let's talk about it in your visit when I see you next month. But if it gets worse, give us a call back. The thing is, we don't want you to suffer in silence. If you've recognized these things are going on, rather talk to your healthcare provider sooner versus later, because this is very valuable information that the healthcare provider needs to know so they can take better care of you. So let's talk about some skin health fundamentals, medical versus cosmetic concerns. Now, we're talking about hair and skin, and some people say, oh, you're being very vain, Alice. There are some changes that can happen to our bodies, such as maybe you're experiencing some more skin dryness, some fine lines, or maybe an uneven tone. Nothing that we need to be necessarily medically concerned because you're in danger. However, could be something that is just off-putting to you. I will say that these are a normal part of aging. So I guess the glass half full of it is you've lived long enough to allow aging to have its impact. Because we know that there are some things that we can do. So I don't want to feel like all is lost. Even if you notice these things, understand that they're normal and they're manageable with good care. However, there are some times where you need to get in to see your healthcare provider right away. So if you've noticed new or changing moles, persistent itching, or non-healing wounds, see your doctor right away. Early detection saves lives, especially with skin cancer, which can appear in all skin tone. A question I have for everyone who's listening to this is, have you had a skin check in this past year? We're very familiar with our annual physical, our Medicare wellness visits. Perhaps you've gone for your well woman's appointment. There's some things that we know and hear to do on a routine basis, but have you had a skin check? This is when generally it is the dermatologist that will check you from head to toe, from rooter to tutor, looking for any type of skin changes. And I'm talking about in places where you can't see, okay? They literally look for signs of skin cancer, any type of moles changing, anything that could be possibly of concern. And these might be things that have not bubbled up to your attention level yet, or maybe you can't see them because it's on your back. It's sometimes hard to take a look back there. But if you haven't had a skin check this past year, I would say put that on your list to do. You can get them done at certain intervals, and it's generally covered by most healthcare insurances. Let's talk about your skin as a barrier. Did you know that your skin is your largest body organ? And yes, it is your first line of defense. But I want you to think of your skin like a barrier, like a brick wall. So the skin cells are the bricks, and your body's natural oils are the mortar that keeps everything sealed in. So when that wall weakens from age, over cleansing, or harsh products, moisture leaks out and irritants can sneak in. And so this is what can lead to redness, itching, and even infections. So maintaining a barrier is key to keeping your skin strong, supple, and resilient. And as a nurse practitioner, one of the things I also talk to my patients about is as older adults, they often will have thinner skin and slower cell turnover. So even more important at protecting that barrier that can prevent those small scrapes or dryness that can turn into skin infections. Skin can get very frail and skin tears can happen very easily. So it's very important that we protect our skin as much as possible. Whoever's used a cleanser or some type of soap and it's left your skin or your body feeling tight and squeaky clean. Well, I used to think that, and I'm going blank on the soap, but would use a soap. I think it's Irish Spring. I can't remember, but I would feel like my skin would feel rubbery, and I thought that that was like a clean feeling. And I want to caution you that we should not be using products like that, and especially at any type of frequency. Many people think that that squeaky clean feeling is a good thing, but in dermatology and skin science, it is a red flag. That tight, dry skin or stretched feeling after cleansing generally means that the cleanser has stripped away too much of your skin's natural oils, which is actually there to keep it moisturized and help protect us, or it's disrupted your skin barrier, or your skin is temporarily dehydrated, stressed, and unprotected. So, note to self, that squeaky clean feeling, now we know better based on the science that that actually could be a red flag that our skin might be in danger and needs more moisture and to be protected. So let's talk about a triple approach to hydration. I talked about some of these things a little bit earlier. One is the internal hydration. Our cells need water to function. They can become dehydrated and our skin is an organ, so it needs hydration as well. Although this slide says drink at least 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, if we think about the number I mentioned earlier, you actually should be drinking more than that, but at least 6 to 8 glasses of those should be water daily. Your skin needs to stay hydrated from the inside out. There's also humectants. So these are hydrating ingredients that work by attracting water to your skin. So if you think of them kind of like sponges, they pull moisture from the environment and deeper layers of the skin to keep the surface hydrated. So some examples of this are hyaluronic acid, glycerin, aloe vera, urea. What those do is they increase your skin hydration. They make skin look plumper and smoother, and they reduce the appearance of fine lines, at least temporarily. And there's also occlusives. So these are ingredients that create protective barriers on the skin, which helps trap in moisture and prevent water loss. So think of them as a lid that you put on a pot. They lock in everything underneath. Some ingredients like shea butter or petroleum jelly or even mineral oil or lanolin or beeswax, these can all seal moisture in. And so this is your final step, locking in everything you just added. Like when you get out of the shower, don't rub yourself dry. Just pat dry and actually leave a little moisture on your skin. And then you can put on your skin products to help kind of lock in that moisture. It really does help. Well, let me ask a question. Who here uses lotion only when their skin feels dry? If you wait till your skin is dry to apply lotion, you're waited too late. Proactive side of that, after you've showered, pat dry, leave a little moisture on water on your skin, put on your product, and you can lock in some moistures. Dry skin actually is more prone to cracks. When there's more prone to cracks, there's bacteria can invade our body, and that's where we can get infection and things like that. It's not about just vanity and, oh, I don't want to look ashy. There's actually benefit, health and safety reasons for keeping your skin moisturized. Now, let's talk about skin protection because this is non-negotiable. Okay, so first let's bust the myth. A myth out there that because someone is melanated, that they don't necessarily have a need for sunscreen. Well, melanin does give some protection. It gives us about a natural SPF of 13, but that's not enough. UV rays can still break down collagen and lead to skin cancer, dark spots, and wrinkles. And just for some clarity, SPF stands for sun protection factor. That's the number that tells you how well a sunscreen will protect your skin from UV rays, which are the rays that are responsible for sunburns, skin damage, and skin cancer. SPF tells you how much longer you can safely be in the sun before burning compared to no sunscreen. So, for example, if you're someone whose skin starts to burn in 10 minutes If you apply an SPF of 30, you roughly have about 300 minutes that you can stay out in the sun before whatever minutes it takes for you to burn. So in this example, I gave 10 minutes. If you put on SPF, 10 times 30 equals the 300. So technically, per the numbers, per this math, you could normally sit outside for 300 minutes in the sun before you start to burn. Now, don't bank on it. It's there's some science there, but we don't even want to put ourselves in a situation to test it. Okay. And we do also know that you need to, like I mentioned earlier, reapply every 2 hours when outside. And remember, sun protection is for everyone. You should use SPF 30 or higher every day, even when you're indoors. UV light passes through windows. Even though you're not out in the direct sun, even indirect sunlight can impact you. So you want to choose a mineral sunscreen with zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Now, some people don't like it because when you take a picture, it kind of leaves a little bit of white cast. Everything's getting better. There's even SPF in makeup now, and it's getting better. So you'll have to try a couple of products to see what works best for you, but you still should have some type of SPF protection there. Now let's talk about cleansing and exfoliating with care. We have natural oils on our skins, and the oils are generally intended to help keep our skin moisturized and supple and intact. So to, keep a healthy skin barrier. So we need some of those oils. But as we age, there can be changes to that. Oftentimes, we actually get more dry. Now, some people have the opposite problem. They'll get really oily. Either way, whether you have dry skin or you have oily skin, we want to keep our skin clean, right? Absolutely. But it's going to be important that we avoid harsh soaps that can strip these natural oils away. So you'll want to use gentle pH balanced cleansers and wash your face twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. And, we'll talk about a routine here in just a second, but you'll want to pat dry, don't rub. That rubbing can cause friction and cause micro abrasions into your skin. So that's gentle cleansing. Now, there is something called exfoliation, but we want to be smart about it. Exfoliation, maybe you can do once or twice a week, and this removes the dead cells from our skins. Yes, you can do it, but go easy, okay? Don't overdo it because it can cause micro tears or irritation. When you're doing exfoliation, you'll want to look for mild chemical exfoliants with alpha or beta hydroxy acids. Alpha hydroxy acids are water soluble acids made from sugars, milk, and fruit, and they work on the surface of the skin. And the beta hydroxy acids are oil soluble, and this means that they can penetrate into your pores and not just on the surface. Just a word for the wise, be careful, especially if you're someone who has diabetes or frail skin. If you're using abrasive products or you're using them too frequently or you're rubbing your skin dry, you could cause some micro tears in your skin, which can invite then intruders, bacteria into the skin and cause infection. So just for anyone out there who might be using those old school scrubs or crushed sales or salt to exfoliate your skin, those gritty scrubs, you might want to retire those or look for something else because, again, those could potentially be damaging to our skin. So let's talk about some ingredients that do work. And listen, I'm not necessarily promoting any one of these. I'm talking about what they are because I believe it. You've seen these products, you've seen it in a commercial, they're on your shelf. You might have some of these in your bathroom already. So I wanted to just kind of go over some of them. So we have ceramides, which can rebuild and strengthen your skin barrier. They prevent moisture loss and irritation. You have hyaluronic acid, which holds up to 1,000 times its weight in water. This is going to help draw in moisture, keep our skin nice and plump, reduce those fine lines. You have niacinamide, which can help brighten dark spots and reduce redness. There's shea butter, which provides moisture deeply and can calm inflammation. And you have aloe vera, which can soothe irritations. So these are some powerhouse ingredients that definitely are helpful to keeping your skin clean, moisturized, and protected. Now, you don't need to use all of them. You can start with one or two and just see how your skin responds. Now we're going to pivot into your hair health. Healthy hair starts with a healthy scalp, and scalp is skin. So it's important that too needs to be moisturized and taken care of just as much as your face and the rest of your skin does. As a nurse practitioner, I've seen patients who have Chronic scalp dryness or irritation is often minimized. However, it can signal underlying issues. I say that because if you're someone who's experiencing this, don't minimize it or overlook it. Say, oh, that's not a big deal. Still very important for you to be evaluated. Talk to your healthcare provider to make sure that it is not a symptom of another medical condition. So don't ignore your scalp changes. And let me ask this question. How often do you treat your scalp with the same love you do your hair? Are we moisturizing? Are we massaging? Are we doing all the good things to our skin, to our scalp? Well, it's probably time that we start, or at least show it a little more love than we have been. So let's talk about that. How do we unlock your best hair when it all starts with healthy scalp? Well, you got to keep your scalp healthy. That's going to be important. Vitality and strength of our hair are deeply and directly rooted to the health status of our scalp. So, one, you want to cleanse regularly to remove buildup on your scalp, moisturize deeply to prevent flaking. Also, handle gently to minimize breakage. Sometimes we can cause damage to our hair with the styling that we do and not protecting it from heat or sun. So there's some things that we can do to minimize that, some of that. And then protecting it always, like I said, hats in the strong sun and avoiding tight hairstyles. Your scalp is a living tissue. So I want you to treat it like the foundation of your crown. And also, who oils their scalp or greases their scalp? When I grew up, we would get our hair washed, blow dry it, and then we'd have our scalp greased, and then we'd get it braided into like French braids. And that was kind of our protective style. Boy, that felt good, that massage in that scalp. It's like a full body massage before your scalp. So who's doing that? Your scalp is skin. So just like the rest of your body needs to be moisturized, perhaps so does your hair. And especially as we age, as I talked about, some of the hormonal changes, the environmental changes, and then aging. So even if you didn't grow up using any type of moisturizer for your scalp, perhaps that's something that you need to consider now. Let's understand the hair changes that happen with age. So as we age, our hair texture can change, the density can change as well. Our hair follicles can produce fewer hairs, and the growth cycle slows down. And then again, also if we keep in mind the hormonal shifts that can happen, especially that low estrogen and those thyroid changes, those play a major role. And so that's why some of us notice thinning near the crown or temples after menopause. And it's not your imagination, it's physiology. So if you're someone who's ever noticed rapid or patchy hair loss, bring this up at your next visit. Okay. Again, there are some things that are destined to happen with age, environments, and hormonal change, but sometimes there are changes in our hair can be a symptom of other things going on, like thyroid imbalance, iron deficiency, or even medication side effects. Now, let's talk about what to watch for when it comes to your medications and your hair. Some medications can influence your hair growth and the texture of them, such as beta blockers, which is commonly used for hypertension or heart conditions. It can lead to some hair thinning or hair loss by disrupting the hair growth cycle. Antidepressants, particularly SSRIs, they can cause certain types of alopecia, where more hair than usual enters into a resting and shedding phase. Also, acne medication. You're thinking, what, I'm taking medication to help me with my skin. What's going on? Well, sometimes that medication can cause hair thinning and excessive dryness to our scalp. So, and changes the texture to our hair. And thyroids, both having an underactive hypothyroidism and overactive thyroid hyperthyroidism. Those conditions can cause hair loss. And sometimes adjusting medications can sometimes lead to temporary shedding as your body re-regulates itself. So those are some things to keep in mind. Doesn't mean stop your medication. By all means, I am not telling you to stop your medication. But if you're noticing these changes in your skin and hair, talk to your healthcare provider about them. And let's explore some of the tips that we're talking about today, incorporating some of those so perhaps we can minimize some of what's happening here. So let's address some of these common hair concerns for thinning and breakage. As we mentioned, I've kind of explained how and why this happens. What are some things you can do about it? So here's our action items. These are things within your locus of control that you can perhaps start doing these over the counter. Maybe you're already doing some of these, but some things to consider. Using protein treatments monthly, avoiding tight hairstyles, perhaps talking to your doctor before starting any type of supplements. Please Don't just buy the supplement you buy on TikTok. You got to talk to your healthcare provider just before you buy something on the TikTok shop, okay? Also consider talking to a dermatologist, whether it's your skin or hair. And they do offer, there are some recommended treatments that can possibly help with hair loss. And there's an example of one there. So, scalp dryness and irritation. Use gentle sulfate-free shampoos. That's something that's helpful. We want to prevent stripping our hair from its natural oils, oiling your scalp 2 to 3 times a week with a type of oil, coconut, olive oil, or jojoba, and then also trying a scalp specific moisturizer or treatment. Remember, your scalp is skin. If we can do, all these creams and butters and massages and red light therapy, all of these things we do for our skin, we should be considering that we do more for our hair as well. And I also want to make sure that I emphasize here, hair loss isn't just cosmetic. Although some people say, oh, it's just hair, it plays a very big role and it can affect our confidence and also signal some underlying health conditions. So don't be afraid to bring it up. Don't minimize the situation. Talk to your healthcare provider about what's going on with you. So these next two slides, I'm not going to go into those into too much of detail, but wanted you to see that there are different types of hair losses, which we call alopecia, and the different types of hair losses, they have different reasons for what's happening and also how they can present on the body. So, for example, the first one, adrenogenetic alopecia, often hereditary, leads to gradual thinning, a receding hairline in men, and diffuse thinning over the crown in women. Another one here is alopecia areata, an autoimmune condition resulting in sudden patchy hair loss on the scalp or body, and it can range from small spots to complete loss. So there are very different types here. And the next one, the traction alopecia, this is the ones that is oftentimes self-inflicted, the very, very tight braids. It can cause tension on our hair follicles. So braids, weaves, tight ponytails, that can often impact, and you'll see it along the hairline. And there are other types of alopecia here that you can go through and look at in more detail. I think men are sometimes a little taken back by this. Alopecia barbae, an autoimmune condition causing sudden patchy hair loss exclusively in the beard area. So sometimes people will make the joke and say, oh, your beard doesn't connect. There's some patchy areas. Well, that's a form of alopecia. It's localized to the beard area. You'll have this presentation for you to go back and review, but there are different types of alopecia. And knowing the cause of the alopecia helps us to identify what treatments are to best combat those. So now let's talk about some of the things that are within our locus of control, things that you can do to help minimize or lower the amount of manipulation of your hair. And in essence, we're talking about protective styling done right. Protective styles are great, but only when they protect. Listen, I love braids. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous. But we want to really avoid tight braids or tight ponytails that can pull on our edges. Not only can it cause that alopecia, it can actually give you a headache. It really can. And also, I'll just say with some of that tightness in the pulling, not only will it cause alopecia, but it can cause some skin irritation, which can then cause our skin to be prone to micro tears or irritation, where then an invading bacteria can get into those tiny cracks on our skin. Low manipulation hairstyles, protective hairstyles are great. Listen, set it and forget it. I love a good hairstyle where it's minimal things I got to do and I can just get up and go and still look cute. I love it. But when you do have these styles, it's important that we don't keep them in for too long. You actually can't overdo it. So keeping a style for no more than 6 to 8 weeks max, and to continue moisturizing your skin while you have them. The goal is low manipulation, not neglect. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I've had braids before, and maybe even not that long, but when I've taken the hairstyle down, I'm like, phew, my scalp can finally breathe. Well, that's your scalp asking for a break. So if you ever feel like, oh gosh, this is too much, this is too tight, maybe that's your hair talking to you, your scalp talking to you like, hey, time for this style to come down. I need a breather. Skincare doesn't always have to break the bank. Okay, you don't need luxury brands to get these results. There are some name brands out there, CeraVe, Vanicream, Neutrogena, Eucerin. Some of them can be a little more costly, but for the most part, if you are someone who is dealing with skin conditions, especially, and we talked about what makes us more prone to them, especially as we age. Perhaps there is an opportunity for a dermatology recommended product. So these are things you can buy over the counter, but sometimes when you talk to your healthcare provider, they can actually prescribe some of these as well. So keep that in mind. Also recognize that store brands often contain the same active ingredients as some of these brands do. So look on the back of the label, look for multi-use products like shea butter, coconut oil, aloe vera gel, which are great for both hair and skin. And there's also some safe and effective home remedies. Now, proceed with caution because while oatmeal bath, honey mask, aloe vera, and coconut oil can all soothe and hydrate, natural doesn't always mean safe. So always patch test to check for sensitivity before you use it all over. I've seen patients develop rashes from essential oils or homemade scrubs. So when in doubt, test on a small area of your skin and talk to your provider first. But I will say some of the best home remedies are those passed down from the family. Sometimes grandma really did know what worked best. Now, when it comes to reading products, there's so many things out there. Just like our foods, it's important that we learn how to read the labels and decode some of these things. So I'm going to go over some common terms used on marketing materials. So you'll see dermatologist tested. That means a dermatologist reviewed it, not that it's proven safe for everyone. Natural, we like the word natural. It's like, oh, it's organic, must be healthy. It is unregulated. There's also, you'll see some things like fragrance free, which is better than unscented, but understand that it's still unscented, may still contain masking fragrances. And then hypoallergenic, suggesting fewer allergens, but no true official standards exist. So whenever you're trying on a new product, do a small skin test, make sure that you don't have a reaction to it, and then try it out. And then just be more vigilant and more mindful and observant of how it's working on your skin and how it makes you feel. And that way, if there is something that changes, you can talk to your healthcare provider about it. Some ingredients you'll want to look at with some caution. Some of those that are potentially irritating are sulfates, harsh alcohol, synthetic fragrances. Those can irritate mature skin. Also be aware of medication interactions. For example, vitamin K creams can interfere with your blood thinners, or retinoids can increase sun sensitivity. So be mindful of that. Avoiding some of these potentially irritating products, as well as understanding that sometimes you can have interaction with your skin products and your medicine. Now, building a simple and sustainable routine is going to be key with this because we can identify the products that are great to use and talk about why they're helpful. And you can try it, but if you try it once, you probably won't see your effect immediately. It's going to take a sustainable routine. So consistency beats complexity. So, for example, in the morning, a gentle cleanser on your face, moisturize, and put some sunscreen on, and then you can head out and conduct your day. And then when you get home in the evening, another gentle cleanse, a treatment if needed, and then putting on a night cream to help moisturize your skin while you sleep. And then if you're someone who wants to deep clean your skin, and let's say you want to exfoliate, no more than 1 to 2 times a week. And then also think about a scalp massage as well. So when we're thinking about our hair and our skin, don't forget your scalp. Remember, don't forget your scalp. Scalps like massages as well. But consistency is going to be important. And you'll want to give each new product or new, whatever new thing you throw into the regimen here, give it about 4 to 6 weeks to really see some results. Okay. You might pick up something and start doing something that's really good for your skin, but the change may not be as dramatic as we would like to see. So it might take a couple weeks. Now, when we talk about nutrition, and we're talking about hair and skin, we got to think about beauty from the inside out. Good skin and good hair start on your plate. Things like protein and biotin help repair tissue. Omega 3s, they fight inflammation. Vitamins A, C, and E protect from damage, and zinc and iron help with growth. So, whenever you are preparing your plate to eat, I would say eat the rainbow. And when I say eat the rainbow, that just means having a colorful plate. Because generally, if you have a colorful plate, you will have a nice mix of nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all of those things. So, colorful fruits and veggies can feed our cells and give it energy and the things that it needs to perform in its most optimal way and protect us. Ideally, you would get these nutrients from food, but it's okay to take a daily supplement. It's actually helpful. So that way, if there's a day where it's like, oh, I didn't get as much of this particular vitamin or nutrient, you have a multivitamin there that will kind of level things out. Now, when to see a doctor or perhaps a nurse practitioner. As I mentioned earlier, you'll want to schedule annual skin checks. Skin cancer can affect all skin tones, and because of the darker skin tones, it's sometimes not detected till much later. So early detection is going to be key, but get the specialist, get the dermatologist in there with you to look at your skin from head to toe, between those toes, on your back, and all the areas that you can't see. Now, that's an annual appointment. Now, there are some things where you need to see a doctor right away. These are things where if you notice new moles or sores that don't heal, sudden hair loss, or persistent itching, those are things that you'll want to be on high alert for. Talk to your healthcare provider right away. Come in sooner versus later and talk to them about what's been going on with you. That way, if there's something brewing, it can be identified early and we can apply interventions early as well. Prevention saves lives. So, here are some key takeaways that I'm hoping that you will leave today's presentation with these on your mind and on your checklist of things to do. One of them is embrace evolution. Aging is a journey of change. It is normal. You did not fail. You don't have bad hair. You don't have bad skin. You just lived long enough. You're living a long and fruitful life. Also, protecting your skin. This is going to be important from internal hydration with drinking plenty of water to daily sunscreen and gentle cleansing, using SPF daily, and making sure that we are protecting our hair as well, perhaps with a protective style. Staying informed, be informed, read labels, ask questions, schedule your annual skin check and talk to the dermatologist about what's been going on, what's changed. Simplify. You'll want a simple routine. Consistency is what matters most. So, whatever you decide to do or try, give it at least 4 to 6 weeks for before you see some changes or outcomes. But it'll be up to you to be, hyper vigilant in watching and tracking the changes. But you got to be consistent and then also advocate for yourself. Participate in your health care. What we've talked about today, hair and skin, it's not about vanity. Again, it's about vitality. This is about your health. So seek specialists who can understand your melanin-rich skin and your textured hair because sometimes it can be a challenge. Your healthcare provider doesn't have to look exactly like you or have walked the same journey. If they have, does it help? Yeah, I can. But there are other passionate healthcare providers out there. The important piece is that you feel heard and you feel seen, and your provider is actually listening to you and working with you as a partner in your healthcare journey. So, next steps. What's one action you're going to take this week to protect your skin or your hair? Right? I gave you several tips and ideas of what you can do here, whether it's protective hairstyle, it's massaging your scalp or deep conditioning your scalp. Perhaps it's incorporating more shea butter, maybe right when you get out the shower to lock in some of that moisture. Maybe it's making sure that you're drinking adequate amounts of fluids to make sure you have that internal hydration on point. Or it's talking to your healthcare provider about the medications that you're on and some of the hair and skin changes you've experienced. Or scheduling your annual skin check. Any of those things, I'd be happy or delighted if it's even just one. It's important to remember that small steps today lead to big improvements in your quality of life tomorrow. And while we can beat ourselves up about something that we should have started a long time ago, listen, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. I get it. The second best time? Start now. Start today. So this is not about looking younger, it's about staying well. Your skin and your hair tell a story. So continue to nurture them with intention and self-compassion. And we also invite you to keep engaging with AARP's health and wellness programs. Stay informed, connected, and empowered. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. I'm Nurse Alice Benjamin. Remember, you deserve to feel confident, informed, and radiant at every age. I invite you to visit aarp.org/CA to register for more events and keep your wellness journey going strong. And you will see here on our screen is our next upcoming health and wellness offering, Grief and Growth, Caring for Your Whole Self. I hope you will be able to join us in person. And if not, there will be a video available afterwards for you to watch. Sharing is caring. It's thoroughly been my pleasure to speak with you today. So until next time, make good choices, be kind to one another, and live well, my friends. Talk to you soon.